We are the Institute for Intuitive Intelligence, revolutionizing intuition by training spiritually fierce women globally as qualified intuitive guides. Subscribe for the leading research and teachings on the conversation of intuition development.
So, it is often said that the magic happens outside of the limits of our comfort zone. And I'd like to tell you a little story about that today. My story about my comfort zone and my experience, and why I do what I do in the world today, my service. So back in 2015, my life was pretty ordinary, quite regular. From the outside looking in, you would see that I had a job, a partner, we lived in the suburbs, we had a dog, everything was kind of normal. But I was very much in what I would describe as my comfort zone. I spent a lot of time making decisions from my mind, from my head, rather than from my heart. I would, if you were to ask me how I felt, I would not really check in and let you know how I was actually feeling. I would describe what was going on for me, but I never really let my heart speak. And so I had started to dive a little into the personal development world a couple of years prior to that. And in October of 2015, I found myself sitting in a hotel conference room about to attend a personal development workshop that I was really uncomfortable about being at. This particular workshop was about designing your ideal life. And the thought of that, the very thought of designing my ideal life was really uncomfortable. I couldn't logic my way through it. I couldn't rationalize it. I couldn't make those decisions from a really logical and practical perspective. I had to dig a little deeper in this workshop. And what happened was, some might call it divine intervention, but I know that it was absolutely a course correction for me to head down the path away from living in my comfort zone and moving towards a life where I could describe it as magical. And so I'm sitting in this hotel conference room. There's a facilitator standing up on the stage. The stage is about this tall. There's rows of chairs. And the air conditioning is so cold. It always is in those conference rooms. And this particular process that we were going to go through was about making big decisions in our lives. And the facilitator asked for a couple of volunteers. And before I knew it, my hand was in the air. And all I wanted to do was to grab my hand, put it back down, perhaps even sit upon my hand and pretend that it didn't happen. If I close my eyes hard enough and tight enough, perhaps that he didn't see me volunteer. You see, I didn't volunteer from here. I didn't volunteer from my rational or logical thinking. It was my heart that shot my hand up into the air before my brain even had a second to catch on. And here I am sitting like this, breathing deeply, knowing that what was about to happen, or feeling rather, that what was about to happen was going to be a little uncomfortable. And the facilitator took me through this process. There was 10 or 12 questions to ask me about my decision. But in order to do that, to find out what this big decision was that I wanted to make in my life, to see if it was congruent or not, he had to know what that decision was. And once again, my heart led the way. When asked what my big decision was, the words, it's like they poured out of my heart, up my throat and out of my mouth before my mind even had a moment to think about what I was going to say. There was no time between the two. And the words that came out of my mouth when I was asked what my big decision was that I wanted to be out of my day job in the next 12 months. And that very moment was exactly the same as what it felt like when my hand shot up into the air. I wanted to grab those words, scoop them up, put them back into my mouth and pretend that that had never happened. But my heart had spoken. The facilitator took me through the process, and you're probably not surprised to hear that it was 100% congruent. Every single question that was asked of me about that particular decision was 100% aligned. So I remember after that particular process, in the next break, racing into the bathroom, getting into a cubicle, shutting the door, locking the door, sitting on top of the toilet lid, and phoning a friend of mine who knew I was attending this workshop because she had herself attended it in the past. And I called her asking for sympathy. I wanted her to sympathize with me. I was really uncomfortable, and I wanted her to kind of say, it's okay, no problem, don't worry, it's all good. But in fact, she was frustratingly excited. She knew that this was an amazing thing for me, but my head hadn't quite caught on to that at that point in time. So I left that workshop, and 12 months later, that job was made redundant. Again, call it divine intervention if you will, but of course it is exactly what my heart desired. And we understand at the Institute that your heart is the portal, the gateway to our intuitive intelligence. And this was the very first moment that I recognized in my life where my intuition was speaking through me without my head getting in the way. And it was so crystal clear. My highest self had this vision, and I had no choice but to get out of the way. And so when that day job was made redundant, I had the opportunity to choose my comfort zone, or I could choose to expand beyond the limits of that comfort zone and see what was possible over here. The reason why I wanted to be out of my day job, those words that my heart spoke, is because I had started my own business on the side. And I loved the idea. I loved the idea of having my own business, the freedom, the ability to work with people that I wanted to work with and to serve people who I wanted to serve, to help them bring their visions and their passions out into the world. And I knew that with my marketing background and my public relations experience with my university degree, that that was entirely possible for me to do. And so instead of choosing my comfort zone and just getting another job and continuing to work with my business on the side, I took a leap of faith and hoped and prayed that the net would appear. And it did. And the last 5 years, I have worked for myself full-time, and I have loved every moment. Every single moment. It has been, as they say, outside of your comfort zone, it has been magic. But it took for me to choose to get out of my own way, essentially, but to allow my heart to speak, to allow that intuition to come through me, to come out and let my head move to the side. Of course, I get to bring my mind back in when I then go from creating what it is that my heart desires in the world. My faculties, my brain, my capacity supports me to bring these visions, these incredibly powerful and potent ideas into reality. But the ideas are birthed intuitively, and then the mind comes in to support making that happen. So in that hotel conference room, that cold room, when my heart shot my hand up into the air and my heart spoke those words out my mouth, was the most pivotal moment for me. It is the very reason why I do what I do. I now do intuitive business mentoring, and I get to do what it was that my heart desired all those years ago. And it is my absolute pleasure and absolute privilege to be of service to the women who are willing to move beyond the limits of their comfort zone, because the work that I do requires a sense of courage, a willingness. It does not mean that it will be comfortable. By definition, we are moving beyond our comfort zone. So of course it is going to be uncomfortable. But I can say with 100% confidence, hand on heart, based on my experience, that it is absolutely worth it. When we move beyond the limits of our comfort zones, especially those of us who run our own businesses, the life that is possible for us can be absolutely magical. And that is my origin story. Thank you so much for joining me. If you are here live, thank you so much. If you are listening back to the recording, I am so grateful for you taking the time to listen back. Thank you for being here. Thank you to Ricky Jane for this platform to be able to share my origin story with the world, with the Institute's audience. And if you have any questions for me, if you would like to ask about any parts of my story, please do reach out. I would be absolutely honored to answer any questions that you have. And that is it from me. Thank you so much for having me. Have a beautiful day. Take care, and bye for now.